there you have it, people. You're witnessing just how bad it can get out here. It gets tough. And lesson learned. What happens next though, you gotta stay tuned. So let's keep going with this coming up. Alright, now we can install our pedals. Because I was about to give up. I just put my original pedals back on. Let me show you. If worse came to worse, I could have used the worst pedals in the world. And by the way, you might have noticed I've got a different helmet on. You've never seen this helmet, have you? Oh, you've probably seen it when I ride my motor scooter. And you might be wondering, why do I have this helmet on? Well, I elevated my pedals, didn't I? So since I elevated my pedals, I thought I better elevate my helmet game, right? It's only logical. Nah, I'm just shitting you. I'm joking, guys. The reason is I lost my freaking helmet. I lost it. Can you believe that? But there's another helmet on the way anyway. It's kind of timely because I was thinking about buying a new helmet anyway. That helmet had been through the ringer. Like, basically, it had never done anything for me. Like, it never helped me out in any way. But I dropped that thing like 1,000,000 times and it was just falling apart. Just from dropping it, like, out of my hand, you know? Even while riding sometimes. In reality, guys, the way things were going, that helmet needed its own helmet. Because really, I didn't need a helmet. I was fine, you know? Even when I fall, I've never hit my head. But that helmet was just taking a beating on a daily basis. Like, dropping it while riding, like 40 miles an hour. The thing would just roll off like cliffs. You know, the thing was just... It needed a skin of armor. You know, something to get it through the toughest of shit. But I figured it was too cheap anyway. I'm not gonna invest in solutions, you know, to get this Chinese helmet on the road. So in the end, it was for the best. Just lose the thing and forget about it. But regardless, that's the coming up done. And let's begin the video. What the hell was that? Man, I'd never seen that before. Lucky it turned off. I think the issue was having it on while banging it with a hammer. So I won't do that again. And I had it on just so it would be easier to work with. Because it's balancing itself. The front bar's on now. Let's throw the cover on. Oh no. These pedals have that plastic shit inside them. Remember how I had to like melt it out and then like hammer it 1,000 times? Now there's still plastic in here and it's preventing the rod from going through, see? So I'm gonna try and drill it out. Got the right size drill bit here. Now I'll show you, look, I'll show you how tight it is. And it's just plastic, which is weird, isn't it? Oh, what? Alright, so it wasn't that tight. Alright, not too bad. Other pedal. Look. See? It's just plastic. You probably can't see it, but it's in that hole. And I'm gonna try and drill it out. Yes. Done it. There's one on this side too. Oh, that one hammered straight up. Beautiful. Alright, now we can store our pedals. Because I was about to give up and just put my original pedals back on. Let me show you. If worse came to worse, I could have used the worst pedals in the world. So just needs 2 washers there. Stick it through. So I'm going to use a bit of Loctite on these worm screws because that rubber shit is gone now. All that rubber stuff that I had problems with, that was stuck in there. The purpose of that was to keep it locked in because, you know, the tension or the compression is going to push the worm screw out kind of thing into the thread so it won't come loose. But now that rubber's gone because it broke off. So I'm going to use Loctite. Just this stuff. It's not permanent, it just like keeps it tight and then you can still get it back out. See, look. It's like that. And we'll see how this goes, see if it actually keeps it tight. Because these pedal screws, these worm screws come undone quite, not easy, it depends on the types of screws. And yeah, mainly the type of screws. But if they do come undone, it can be pretty dangerous because, I mean, it can be very dangerous. Because then your pedals could just fall off. It's like losing the ground beneath your feet all of a sudden. Alright. You know what? It looks like not only are these pedals elevated, but they angle the pedals up a bit, which gives even more clearance. Also, big thanks to Ratman Murray, who sent me these spacers. It's like these parts that will tilt the pedals up even more, so you get even more clearance. But I haven't installed them yet. When I do, I'll definitely talk about that, and I'm excited about that actually. It's looking good. Can't wait to ride it. And what a beautiful sight that is to see the 16X and the Sherman at full capacity. Or in running order at least. I guess with these things, if they're running, aren't they? There's no halfway, there's no half measures. It's either all or nothing. You're either flying or your face is grinding on the road, sliding. Hopefully you got a full face. But that's a beautiful sound, isn't it? Isn't that an awesome sound? That brand new tyre squeaking on the pavement there. And that sound won't last. When it gets a little worn out, it won't sound like that anymore. But I love that sound when it's brand new. These knobby tyres are just sick. They're awesome. So here we are, guys. And it definitely feels higher. Just straight away I notice it feels higher, like I'm standing up taller. I just got on it, by the way. I just rode like 20 meters and started recording now. And I haven't even taken a corner yet, so that's when we'll see how much extra clearance I can feel. Because I've told you many times that I hate the low pedals on this Sherman. Well, I hated it. You know, I've fixed it now, hopefully. But the way it's been for the longest time, it's way too low. And then when I put these in-motion pedals on, it got even worse. It got worse because the in-motion pedals are like way thicker than the original Sherman pedals on the edge. Because the Sherman pedals taper off and they're like razor thin at the end. So you got a bit of that, you know, a little bit of extra clearance because of that. Then when I put these on, it was like, dude, I've got hardly any clearance at all. So we'll see how this feels. I've got to take some corners and do some drifting soon. Maybe not today, we'll see, but I'll definitely see how this thing corners. Got to get off the... Yeah, I definitely have some extra clearance, guys. You can feel that. So my camera's going spastic. So it's not the actual camera, it's the gimbal. But yeah, this feels good. Very welcome change. And it felt a bit weird, like at first I was like, yeah, this feels a little bit like perhaps less stable, you know, maybe harder to balance, but it's only a slight difference and you get used to it very quickly. Like within 100 miles, whatever change you've made to your EUC will just feel normal. And we go into this car park here. And that same thing happened to me when I changed the 16X tire. I put like a different type of tire and it felt super weird and dangerous because it kept wanting to dip without my control. It want to like go to one side. After 100 kilometers, or about 100 kilometers, it felt very good again. It felt like as good as it ever did, you know? So it can go from feeling horrible to feeling great within 100 kilometers. Whereas this is a very small change. Oh, yeah, this is better for drifting actually, guys. Way better, it's got that extra clearance. Come on, you stupid gimbal. Is this what I pay you for? Yeah, this is way better, guys. And to be honest, I would probably like a little bit more clearance too. Another centimeter, I reckon, would just be perfect without going too high and losing too much stability. I reckon 1 more centimeter would be just right. Yeah! Woohoo! I'm so happy, guys, because I've got a new tire too. You know, the tire I had just before it popped, and it popped because of a nail, by the way. I ran over a, what do you call those things? Like wooden pallets, you know, that forklifts use? And those things can take a ton of load, literally like a whole ton or several tons. But because it was all rotten, when I ran over it, it collapsed and all the nails just sunk through the wood into my Sherman. And it's weird though, it didn't pop immediately. It like took like a whole day to let the air out. So maybe there was a chance that slime would have fixed it, but I decided not to do that because I thought I'll take this opportunity not only to change my tire, so I got a brand new tire on there, because the old one, you know, had a bit of tread, but it was kind of getting towards the end of its life. But not only did I change my tire, I elevated my pedals. So I thought, yeah, it's a good time to do that. And by the way, you might have noticed I've got a different helmet on. You've never seen this helmet, have you? Oh, you've probably seen it when I ride my motor scooter. And you might be wondering, why do I have this helmet on? Well, I elevated my pedals, didn't I? So since I elevated my pedals, I thought I better elevate my helmet game, right? It's only logical. Nah, I'm just shitting you. I'm joking, guys. The reason is I lost my freaking helmet. I lost it. Can you believe that? But there's another helmet on the way anyway. It's kind of timely because I was thinking about buying a new helmet anyway. That helmet had been through the ringer. Like basically, it had never done anything for me. Like it never helped me out in any way. But I dropped that thing like 1,000,000 times and it was just falling apart. Just from dropping it like out of my hand, you know, even while riding sometimes. Alright guys, let's end it there. In the next video, and I kind of cut it short, I know, I just thought, you know, let's cut it here. In the next one, we're going to do some drifting with these higher pedals, and just to recap, it feels much better. Like, this was my first ride just there, with the elevated pedals, the upgrade from Veteran themselves, a factory upgrade, and although it's only like an inch, no, like half an inch, not even, it's 1 centimeter, so less than half an inch, it feels much, much better to the point where it feels like a new machine. Like, the whole thing feels different and awesome, like way better. Just that 1 centimeter. So I reckon I'd want to, you know, even higher, probably even 2 more centimeters, I don't know. To be honest, the higher the better to a degree, because you've got extra clearance, basically. Of course, you know, there'll be a point you don't want it any higher, but I reckon you get used to it. Like, let's say you raised it by 1 centimeter, ride that for a while, and then you get used to it, right? and then raise it again by another centimeter, it'll feel a bit different, but you'll get used to it very quickly because it's only a centimeter. And I reckon you can just keep doing that to the point where you've got this like ideal height where you've got tons of clearance, so you can lean really hard, like a GP bike, you know, MotoGP, Rossi on a corner, and it'll feel fine because you're used to it, you know, you've gone through the levels rather than just going straight to a really high pedal. I reckon if you trained yourself in this manner, and this is just like a hypothetical, let's say you could, if you had an EUC where you could like variably alter the pedal height, you know, incrementally, I think that would be a really awesome way to train yourself where, you know, you just raise it bit by bit until you're at like pro levels, you know, like elite heights of pedal clearance, where, you know, a normal rider would be like, nah, feels too high. But you would be used to it because you've gone through each step so gradually that it feels normal to you. But you've got all those advantages of extra clearance. I guess there is the disadvantage of a higher center of gravity, but that's where you're used to it, isn't it? So you compensate for that lowered stability with more ability, I guess. It rhymes, but it works. Alright, let's end it here, guys. I'll see you in the next one. And like I said, we'll do some drifting with these new pedals. With the new pedal height. Alright, peace.